on. We're plugging in sound.
All right, let's reload the page.
How we're doing.
See what happens here. Hope we don't have the problems we had last week. All right, so far so good. And oops, we'll do a volume check. Okay, we got volume. Excuse me for 1 second. I got stuff flopping around everywhere here. My microphone fell on the extra microphone fell on the ground. Okay, I'm back. Huh. All right, welcome everybody. Or at least welcome one person. We'll give a few minutes for the audience to build here. See if anybody wants to join us today. So how's everybody doing? Like I'm talking to myself, huh?
Yeah,
There's my wife. Sitting at home working hard, watching me on. Oh, Steelers are in. Yeah, Steelers are in last place. Yeah. Everybody else is tied for first. They're all 2-2, and the Steelers are 1-3. Yeah, I knew it was going to be a rough year going in. New quarterback, and I already got a quarterback controversy going. You know what? I say leave the kid in there, and yeah, right? He ain't going to learn if he's sitting on the bench. And Trubisky ain't the answer, that's for sure. He's a backup quarterback. That's all he is at best.
Yeah, but Baker's doing great down in.
Yeah, Baker's doing great down in Carolina, too.
He's the last ranked passer in the league.
Picking up right where he left off in Cleveland. You know, I told my wife, I said, you know, he has those moments when he looks great, and he has those moments when he looks terrible, and the moments when he looks terrible outweighs the moments when he looks great. You know, he gets a lot of passes batted down at the line, and that's just a product of him being 2 or 3 inches too short. Right? He's just not, you know, the football players are getting bigger and bigger, and he's not. Right? Them frontline guys are 6'2", 6'3", 300 pounds, and he's 5'10", and you know whatever he is, 5'11", I don't know, but he's not that tall, and he just can't quite get it up over top of them guys when they reach them big arms up there. But he's got to. If you're going to be an elite quarterback, you got to learn how to figure that out. You got to learn to lob pass. Get it up over top of them and lob it in.
Find your lanes and
yeah.
Move around.
So I thought I'd, real quick before we get started, I'd do a little follow-up review from a couple weeks ago. We had the new SpyPoint Flex camera in here, and we talked about it. You know, we kind of took it out of the box and showed what it was and what we were planning on doing, and I've had it out in the woods for a couple of weeks now, and I'm liking this camera. I'm liking this camera a lot. It takes great pictures. You know, it uploads them right to your phone. I don't know if you can, you know, see what we got going here, but you get pictures.
So nice out there.
Right? This is out at my hunting place. This was at 3:38 this afternoon. And I'm going to zoom in here real quick. And in fact, there's a deer right there. Right there. Yep. So it takes great pictures. This thing has a dual SIM card so that it hooks up to the best available network. If the network that the first network it drops, then the SIM card picks up the next available network. So you always get, excuse me, you get good transmission. You usually have. I've had no problem with signal. Um, the cards format themselves. It's got a format button on there. You put the card in. You don't have to pull your cards out to format it. I've not had a problem with the cards coming unformatted. Um, I'm 2 weeks in. I haven't even used now. I don't use the batteries, the internal batteries, the AA batteries, the 8 AA batteries. I do have an external 12-volt battery that I use, and I'm 2 weeks in and several hundred pictures, mostly of raccoons eating my corn, but I've only used about 5% of my battery. So the thing has great battery life. So far, I'm digging this new SpyPoint Point Flex. Uh, it hooked up immediately, and it does its own. Not only does it format the cards, it also does remote downloads. So if they update the software, the firmware, whatever you want to call it, it updates every time it syncs. It checks for a new upload. It checks for a new update, and it does it automatically. You don't have to go out there and pull the card, you put the card with the update in it, load it into the camera, and it's just, this is such a nice camera, and I've already seen them on sale in several places for $99. They started out at $139, and I've already caught them on sale in a couple places for $99. So, can't say enough about the new SpyPoint Flex camera. I'm enjoying it. I'm using the heck out of it, and I'm really liking the new enhanced features, especially the automatic update. That is key. Nothing worse than, oh, my camera quit working. Why? Oh, I need a firmware update. Now I got to drive, a half hour, 45 minutes, go out and deal with this situation. Not only do I got to upload a stick and take it with me, and then I got to go out and mess with all my stuff. I have not, other than to put another bag of corn in the feeder, I've not stepped foot over by the actual area there. I've gone out to the blind, but I haven't had to go anywhere near the feeder or the camera since I put it out there, which is kind of key. You're not leaving scent everywhere in the woods. So that's my 2 cents on the SpyPoint Flex. If you need looking for a new camera, it's one to look into. So we're continuing. Obviously, it's hunting season. Archery season has started here. Rifle season has started in various places around the country. Rifle season's not too far away for us. It's only, maybe 6-7 weeks away. And I already got my vacation time scheduled. So, I'll be out there with you guys doing my rifle hunting. I'll be hunting with this rifle right here. And today we're going to talk real quick about choosing a caliber. You're ready to build a hunting rifle or buy a hunting rifle, whichever it might be. Maybe you're not a building guy. Maybe you want to buy. The great thing about hunting with an AR is the modularity of the system, right? I can take this lower and I can buy any upper I want that fits the AR-15 platform, and I can put that upper on this gun, and I'm ready to go. If I want 6.5 Grendel, if I want 300 Blackout, if I want 350 Legend, if I want 450 Bush, whatever it might be, all I got to do is buy a different upper. If you want to buy the whole rifle, obviously that's, or build the whole rifle, hey, have at it. More fun, right? Yeah, right, Craig? Modularity. That's the big thing with the AR platform, is the modularity. That's one of the things that makes it so popular and so versatile to the hunting community. So, thinking about what you want to build or buy, right? Okay, there's a couple questions you need to ask yourself. First, what am I hunting, right? Am I hunting hogs? Am I hunting varmints, groundhogs, fox, those type of small game animals, right? Where the 223 which is far and away the most popular caliber in the AR-15 world, is a great round for those varmints. Coyotes, fox, raccoons, all that kind of stuff. The 223 is a great round to take care of any of your varmints, predator type hunting. Hogs, a little bit. You know what I mean? If you're gonna get good headshots, and you're gonna get good consistent headshots, then the 223 will do the job. You can't always get that perfect consistent headshot, and I have found through experience hunting hogs with both a 223 and then with the 350 Legend, the 223 was just slightly underpowered unless you took him in the head. If you hit him in the chest, in what we call the boiler room, they ran. Every single one of them ran. Without fail, they ran, and some of them went 50 to 100 yards before they expired. They are tough creatures. So, you might want to step up to something a little more beefy if you're talking hogs. So that's where we get into larger game, right? Hogs, deer, antelope, that kind of stuff. Now, are you hunting deer in the east where you're hunting the hardwoods and you're only going to be shooting, 200 yards max? Or are you going to be hunting deer out west where you could be shooting 600 yards? That's going to be one of the factors that you base your decision on what caliber you want to build, because while the 350 Legend is a great round for here in Ohio, where I'm rarely, if ever, going to see a deer at 200 yards, let alone take a shot at one, it's not going to be great for out west where I have to take a 500 or 600 yard shot because, and we'll talk about ballistics here in a minute, but this is not a 500 or 600 yard gun. This is a 300 yard maximum gun, and that's pushing it. Okay, just because of the weight of the bullet and the drop, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Are you hunting elk? Right, you get into elk and caribou and moose. Right, a moose is 1,500 pounds. An elk is 800 pounds. A caribou is 900 pounds. These animals need a big round. Right, you need a big round to take them down, and that's when you're going to want to step up into something in the AR-10 platform. Right, now you go into 308, 6.5 Creedmoor, 338 Lapua, 243 is probably just a little underpowered for those great big game animals, but it is a great round for deer. If you so choose to use the AR-10 platform, the 243 is a great round for deer and antelope sized critters. The drawback is that where this gun weighs 7-ish pounds, this gun weighs 10, 12 pounds. Okay. And, 3 or 4 pounds doesn't seem like a lot, but try lugging it, across 2 miles of woods or plains or whatever it might be. That 3 or 4 pounds starts to get heavy by the end of the day after you've put a few miles on. So, those are considerations. What kind of game animal you're hunting? Where are you hunting? Like here in Ohio, we're restricted. We cannot hunt with center fire neck down cartridges. We can only use straight wall rifle cartridges, and that limits us to of 357 caliber or bigger. So that limits us to the 350, the 450, the 44 mag, the 4570, these different straight wall pistol cartridges that are built around the rifle cartridges. You want to think about, what you're hunting, where you're hunting, and how you're hunting. Okay, you're going to be hunting in a tree stand where you can kind of hang your gun from a hook, or you're hunting in a ground blind where this thing's going to be sitting in a tripod, then, that 10 or 12 pound gun doesn't matter. You're going to be on your feet, mobile all day, then that 6 or 7 pound gun is going to make a big difference. Okay. So. All right. Now, the next thing is, what are the possible scenarios for your hunting? Right, like I said, here in Ohio, 200 yards is a long shot. Out west, 500 or 600 yards can be a very common shot. And depending on uh, what you're hunting. You're going to base those calibers um, and the platform, right? So in the AR-10 platform, your big four or your big three, I'm sorry, are your 308 Winchester, which is far and away the most popular hunting round ever developed. More guys use 308 to hunt big game in North America than any other round there is. You have the 6.5 Creedmoor, which has been coming on strong here in a couple last few years, just because the ballistics are a little bit better. The bullet's a little smaller, it's a little lighter, it's a little faster, but it's still a good round for those big game animals. You're getting up into moose and those type of things. It still might be a little underpowered. You're still probably going to want to step up to that 308 at a minimum for those type of animals. And then the 243 Winchester on the AR-10 platform. I have a 243 Winchester lever action Savage Model 99 that was my dad's, and I love that thing. It's a great medium to long range gun, but slightly underpowered for those big game animals. That's more, the 243 is more of a hog to deer antelope round. You look at the ballistics and the bullet drop from these three, right? 308 Winchester, 6.5 Creedmoor, and the 243 Winchester with a 200-yard zero. They're all going to be about 1.5 inches to 1.75 inches high at 100 yards. No issue there. Okay. The average drop at 300 yards comes to about 7.5 inches, anywhere from 6 inches to 8.2 inches. Now, I'm basing this off of standard barrel length, standard ammunition. A lot of things can play into this to change that. The weight of the bullet, the grains of ammo, the length of the barrel. So, the key here is when you decide on a rifle platform, a caliber, and a round, you want to practice with that round. You want to shoot that round at all these different distances, and you got to factor in the wind. When you start getting out to 500-600 yards, wind's going to play a factor, not only in where that bullet hits as much as the distance. The bullet drop and the drift, they call it, right? If the wind's blowing directly across, it's going to have more drift, so you have to practice it with all these different scenarios, and having a ballistics calculator with you can kind of be key if you know you're going to be taking those 500-600 yard shots, so you know where the wind's coming from and which direction it's going and how fast it's going. And you have to practice those different scenarios and know what that bullet is going to do in those different scenarios. Those same bullets, 308, 6.5, 243, the drop starts to go into the 20-ish plus inches when you get out to 400 yards. So you see a big drop from, 7 inches to 20-ish inches in just 100 yards. Now, you double that again and go out, you square that again and go out to 500 yards. Now you're talking anywhere from 30 to 50 inches a drop. So, it's a big drop off, right? Once you hit that certain point, they really start to dive into the ground, and you get out to 1,000 yards, and we're talking 300 plus inches that bullet is going to drop. So I have a lot of respect for these guys that shoot 1,000 yards and hit targets consistently, because that takes some skill, it takes some practice, and it takes the right rifle to do it. In the AR-15 platform, I'll talk about the big two, and then there's big two in certain parts of the country, and there's big two in our part of the country. So far and away in the AR-15 platform, the most popular hunting round right now that's, and it's really not been around that long, probably about 10 years now, is the 6.5 Grendel. And, with a 200-yard zero on that, you're going to be about 2.5 inches high at 100 yards, 7 inches down at 300 yards, 24 inches down at 400 yards, 50 inches down at 500 yards, and then still you're back to 375 inches at 1,000 yards. So the ballistics on the 6.5 Grendel right here is pretty similar to the 308 Winchester, right? So if I'm hunting deer or antelope-sized animals, and I don't want to carry that big 10 or 12 pound gun around, but I need or want the performance that that 308 gives me on those type of animals, the distance and the range. Then in the AR-15 platform, this 6 7 pound gun is a great alternative. The 6.5 Grendel is a great alternative to that 308 if you know you're not hunting those big game animals that require the bigger round. 300 Blackout is another one if you're allowed to use neck down cartridges, but that's more of a short range, right? It's big heavy bullet. You're typically going to zero that out at 100 yards. And at 200 yards, the bullet drop is 9.1 inches, and at 300 yards, it's 34 inches. So you're starting to get into where that bullet is dropping as much as the larger AR-10 calibers at 500 yards. So, the 300 Blackout is definitely a shorter range, 200 to 300 yard max. An average deer, right, the bottom of the chest to the top of the chest is about 20 inches. Okay, you got about a little less than 2 feet in there. Maybe on a big old deer, you might have about 2 feet. So knowing your bullet's going to drop 9 or 10 inches, at 300 or whatever it is, you're going to hold right at the top of that deer's back, and your bullet's going to drop right in where it needs to drop. Now, when a bullet starts to drop 34 inches, you've got to hold significantly higher over top of that deer's back. And that's, with the 300 Blackout dropping at 34 inches, you're going to be holding outside of that deer. And that's really not, unless you've got the right scope, right? You got the good scopes. You spend a lot of money on a good scope. It's going to have the graduated reticle that's going to give you those distance markers. So again, and we're going to talk more about that next week when we talk about how to set up your AR for hunting based on these criteria. Now, if you're, like I said, if you're like we are here in Ohio, certain parts of Pennsylvania, Michigan, Iowa, different places that used to be traditionally shotgun only, and they've opened us up to these straight wall cartridges. The big two are the 350 Legend and the 450 Bushmaster. Very, very similar ballistics. The 350 Legend drops with 100 yard zero, drops 8.5 inches at 200. The 450 drops 9 inches at 200, and 32 inches and 33 inches respectively for the two platforms there. So, either one is a fantastic option, but they're 200 yard guns, right? You don't want to, I don't like having to hold, 2 foot above an animal and hoping does that look, okay, if I've in the animal standing still, I've got a good rangefinder. I know exactly what that distance is. I can kind of, and I've got the right scope to do it. I can do it, but I don't, I'd much rather wait for what I know is a good clean shot. I don't want to wound an animal and take a chance on not being able to harvest that animal and get it back home and get it in the freezer. It's happened to me. If you hunt long enough, it will happen to you. I promise. Saying they're knocking on my Steelers. James, you're from Pittsburgh. You're from Pennsylvania. Oh yeah, okay. He's making the comment about almost knowing what it's like to be a Browns fan. Yeah, that's what somebody said. We're in last place. I'm like, yeah, you guys should know what that feels like. But the 450, 350, again, where I was 200 yards, right? That's the most you want to shoot that gun, comfortably and ethically. Can you do it? Yeah, I've seen guys do it, and with the right equipment and the right practice, sure, you can do it. But I don't always get enough time to practice enough. So I sight in for 100 yards. I can creep out to 200, but I'm not going to shoot that far, really, because I hunt the woods. I really don't hunt a lot of open field areas, and I can't see a deer at 200 yards through the woods, let alone hit one. And I don't take running shots anymore. I've taken some running shots, and if a deer's coming through the woods and its head's down, its ears back, and it's flying, it's gone. I ain't wasting my lead on it because my dad was great at that. I watched my dad shoot some deer on the run. He had the thing. He could lead, and I watched him do it. I've seen him do it several times, and he was good at it. But I'm just not that good at it, so I let him run. So again, you want to build an AR for hunting. You want to ask yourself those questions. What am I hunting? Where am I hunting? How am I hunting? And then you want to start doing some research on the different calibers and the ballistics of, Russ you got you a doe, did you? He got a crossbow, doe with the crossbow. He's cutting up his deer now. Nice. I haven't even gone out yet. Waiting for the weather it's getting, the right weather's coming. It's getting cold enough now. We had a nice frost a couple mornings in a row. I hate mosquitoes. I hate sitting out there and constantly batting at the mosquitoes, getting in my ears, and it drives me insane. So once we get a couple of good frosts and the mosquitoes start to die off, and it's time for me to get out there. And the spiders. I hate walking through the woods and running into spiders' nests. Because then I'm always thinking, where's the spider? I found the web. Where's the spider? Is he going down my where? I hate spiders. I hate spiders. Ask my wife. I am a big sissy when it comes to spiders. I can't stand them. I'll deal with a snake all day long before I'll deal with a spider. So ask yourself those 3 questions. Do the research on the rounds and the ballistics and the different distances, and then also the information we're going to give you next week about how to set up your AR for those hunting situations, whether it be the hardwood forests here of Ohio where you're going to shoot 100 yards, or the plains out west where you could shoot 500 or 600 yards. So that's all I got for how to choose a caliber. There is no perfect caliber. There is no one caliber, right? Everybody wants to, what's the one caliber that's going to give me everything I need? Well, good luck, right? My wife always says, why do you need 5 ARs? What do you do? Oh, well, I got this one for deer. I got that one for, I got that one. I got this one for varmints. All right, I need a different one for all these different situations. I want one. I want one for all these different situations. And that's why we end up building 4 or 5 and 6 of them, right? And the malarkey that you hear coming out of Capitol Hill about, you can't hunt with an AR. What do you need it for? That's horse crap. You can absolutely hunt with your AR, no matter what caliber it is, from 22 on up to 500 Beowulf. You can hunt with your AR. So build yourself a hunting AR, enjoy it, practice with it, get to know it, and join us next week, and we'll talk about telling you how to set it up for those hunting situations. And my camera guy's got to catch a plane. He's going out to talk to some people tomorrow at a big company, one of the big boys, one of the big companies in the gun industry. So hopefully we'll come back with some work from them. We did a little work for them. We pulled their butts out of a fire, and hopefully that'll open the door. We'll do some fun stuff for them. So join me next week. We'll talk about setting up your AR for hunting. Appreciate you guys. Remember, you don't have to be an expert to build your own AR, to upgrade it or maintain it. We're here to help you do that. Thanks.